My name is Alvin Niuh. I teach in the College of Human Environmental Sciences in the Department of Nutrition and Hospitality Management. And this fall, I did, for the service learning, I did it in RHM 321, which is a tourism in the hospitality industry class. I had a lot of fun with the class. I'm not sure about my students, but I think some of them did. Well, I learned a lot about it, what to do, not to do. The good thing is I'm able to do this again this semester because I'm teaching the same class, and hopefully I'm going to do a couple of things differently, but I'm just going to share a little bit with you. But the reason why I picked this class is because if you think about tourism, and travel, all of us participate in it. It's something that touches all our lives, whether you think about 7-8 weekends in a year in this town, we have 150,000 people coming, whether you like it or you don't like it, we are here, those kinds of things. So we know that this, in terms of tourism, and especially for our hospitality students, it's a crucial component to their careers. Okay, wherever they work, whatever they do, it's dependent upon people traveling and travelers and tourism. So that's why I picked this class. This is some of the issues I was looking at, so you can read through this yourself. What I did with this assignment was I gave them attractions here in Tuscaloosa. A lot of times when you ask students about what's there to do in Tuscaloosa, they say it's really a boring town, there's nothing to do. But when you really think about it, there's actually, Tuscaloosa has a lot to offer. So I identified about, let me see, I had a big class, so I think I ended up with 11 different attractions here in town, and I assigned them all in small teams of about 5 to 6 students, and one of those attractions, and the idea was that they would go meet with the people in the attraction, which I clearly wrote that they had to go and speak to them in person, but yet I had questions that, and students will come and tell me after a couple of weeks, like, we've tried to contact them, but nobody is responding. And I'll ask them, well, how did you contact them? Well, we've emailed them 6-7 times and nobody's responded, even though my instructions clearly said, go speak to them in person. But after they went to speak with them, they were able to then identify the problems and issues very quickly. So, but anyway, I gave them all an attraction that they had to go and visit, see, identify the problems and challenges that each of those attractions were facing, and then as a group, think about how they're going to solve that problem or solution for that attraction. And one of the things that I wanted them to do as part of the problem-solving issue was then to create a little short video that can be used or buy the attraction to either download on their website or something else that will address the problem, but also bring people to that attraction. Okay? So this was some of the student learning outcomes based on the ELs, and based on their reflections and results and comments of students, this was some of the things that I thought that students learned from this particular experience. That a lot of them indicated it was a good learning experience. They enjoyed it. They enjoyed meeting these people, being able to do this outside of the classroom setting, and just talking to these attractions. A lot of them did not realize after they went and visited the attractions, did not realize what all of these attractions had to offer. That so many of these students have been in Tuscaloosa for 2 years, 3 years, even as long as they've been here. Very few of them have been to all of these different places. And I'll show you one in a second. One of the big things that they learn about that working in teams is not easy. And I tell them, in life, when you get out there, eventually you are going to be working in teams. As much as they might like to do things individually, and it wasn't easy. Some of the challenges they had were conflicting schedules. Communication was key in the beginning, was an issue for them. But I realized that eventually they developed a way of communicating. A lot of them use Google Docs and other forms of communication. But they realized eventually that communicating was key to being successful in completing the project. Not everyone had participated equally in the completion of the project, and I saw that several times, and I had people comment that to me that they all had higher expectations of each other, but yet they did not live up to those expectations themselves or from the other team members. But another thing I found out from reading their reflections and from talking to them is that they were able to use a lot of skills that they had learned previously from other classes in solving some of those problems. So, which is a good thing, that to see that other classes that they are taking here on campus is giving them skills and the knowledge that's necessary that can be used to incorporate to solve this problem as well. how did this assist in developing student problem? Well, a couple common comments I heard was that they were able, when they found the problem, they were able to look at all aspects of the problem. A lot of times you tend to approach the problem solving in one method, but then when they were working with teams, they saw that everybody had different ideas or different ways of approaching it. So they learned to look at things slightly differently, which I think is a good thing. Another thing they realized is that they needed to be more resourceful. I gave them a list of different types of resources that were available to them on the campus. A lot of times what I found out was they didn't really use it at the beginning, but then later on they realized that the resources were there, that they took advantage of it. It made their lives and the process so much easier and faster. Okay? And Sanford Media, because I was using media and I'm not good at media, I'm not good at computer, they were a big help to me. So anytime students had questions about something to do with technology, media, I was like, go talk to Sanford, go talk to the media center. So they are great to work with. Students also realize in problem solving that communication really is important. Communicating among themselves, communicating with, even with the instructor, with me, was important in making sure that they were able to solve the problems well. Learning to prioritize, I think, which is, like everything else, when we encounter all sorts of problems in life and in work, and being able to prioritize them is a key component of being successful as well. And I think it helped the students learn from this project in terms of problem solving is that they realized everybody had a different working style and they had to adapt to it. What's neat about, I teach both nutrition and hospitality, and my nutrition students are very type A, anal type personality, and then the hospitality students are totally on the opposite end. And so, having even myself trying to adjust my style with them, because I'll ask my students, why have you all not started on this project that was given to you all 2 weeks ago? And say, oh, we have a lot of time. If it was my nutrition students, they would have been almost done with the assignment by this point in time. So, totally different. So, the students realized that even working in teams, they had to adjust their styles among themselves because of all the other issues we addressed. Okay? So, connections between goals and learning assessment. So, I used a couple of different ways of assessing what they did in terms of problem solving. So, the video that they developed hopefully addressed the problems and issues at each of those attractions. So, we looked at it as a group. I got feedback from other teams at the end of the semester. Each of the team presented their little video to the class, and the class provided feedback. They were able to present their videos to the different attractions, the event managers, or somebody from each of the attractions that they were representing to get some feedback from it. Another one was that they acquired some basic digital media production. What I realized, and here the focus was presenting it a little bit more professional. And what I realized with this is they actually know a lot more about this than I do, so which was, personally, that's an area that I need to work on. The other goal was to develop teamwork and communication skills, and we did that in a couple of ways. We looked at scripts that they were supposed to write and develop as a team. Some teams did better, some teams actually came up with scripts, some teams did not. They had a peer evaluation, and I think that was an eye-opening event for a lot of them. A lot of them, when they got the evaluations back, they said, well, I thought I did everything they wanted me, and why did I get that low score and things like that? And I said, well, that's your team. I have no control. All I do is I tabulate it and I post the team results. The reflection paper also sort of indicated that they learned quite a lot about teamwork and the skills that are necessary to work together as a team to problem solve from this standpoint. So remaining challenges and ongoing questions. But before I get into that, I'll just show you a little one if we have time. So one of the ones they did was Garber's house, and I'll kind of show it to you first, and I'll tell you about it a little bit more. Is that a Wally? one short example, but well, I had a class of 54. Everybody had walked by this building before, and out of the class of 54, only 3 students had ever been in Gardner's house. And one went for, I think, for a class, and they went, the other 2 went because there was a function there and stuff like that. So, we talked about some of those issues. So what did I learn, and what are some things I can do? So as we talk about, what did I learn, or some things that I think I'll do differently, I sort of approach this sort of like a sink and swim concept. I'm giving the students an assignment, they figure out the problem, I'm there as resources, you come to me, you don't come to me, that's your choice. But what I realized that's not always good, especially with this group of students. So moving forward, when I think about this semester, I'm going to give them a little bit more guidelines perhaps, and hold them a little bit more accountable throughout the assignment. I think a lot of the instructions I gave them were, in my opinion, were clear or was written, but obviously they didn't read it as well, so I'm going to have to address a couple other areas in this in terms of what's important. Timeline, like I said, I give them, they had almost 2 months to complete this assignment. Some waited to the last minute, some started, so I think what would work better is I give them a little bit, perhaps a few more due dates throughout the process, just to make sure that they are on track and they have certain things in by a certain time. I think it will help them, and it will also make probably the outcome of the project a little bit better as well. And then personally, I think from a technology standpoint, like I told them they had to upload this on YouTube. When I went to try to find some of this, I told them please do not remove it, but a few of them are now gone. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to get it where I will have a copy that I can use it again in the future. So there were a couple of students that kept it up there, but a few of the other videos, they took it down as soon as class was over and stuff like that. So trying to figure those kinds of things out. So that's where I am with this class at this point in time. Is there any questions or discussion?
Is the city or the sites going to use any of the products your students make?
Some of them said they will, some of them actually are going to post it on their website. So there are a few things that I want to see them add in the future, like this semester, so I'm doing it, some of this. Some of the video clips are good, some of them are a little like, okay, we got to do a little bit better, put a little bit more information in it, things like that. So those are the things that, in terms of the guidelines and requirements, I'm going to make sure that it's in there from them. Yeah.
You said at the beginning you gave your students a list of people that they could contact or organizations?
Yeah, so I identified them,
right.
and the teams were then responsible for talking to them, figuring out what their problems and issues were.
Did you contact the people in advance to let them know that your students would be contacted?
Some of them I did, some I did not. Because some of the ones that I didn't, I know them well, and I've done this before in the past, and